Cronkite News starts now.
Good evening and welcome to Cronkite News on Arizona PBS. I'm Camila Williams. Thank you for joining us. In Arizona, the Department of Health Services reports more than 2,500 new COVID-19 cases, along with 38 additional deaths. Overall, the state has almost reached 1 million cases and more than 18,000 deaths. DHS reports that almost 2,000 people are currently in Arizona hospitals fighting the coronavirus. About 1/4 of these patients are in intensive care unit. This is the highest COVID-19 hospitalization rate that Arizona has seen since mid-February. Officials are saying that most of those who are hospitalized are unvaccinated. Banner Health is seeing a large increase in COVID-19 hospitalizations, as well as unusually high uptick in non-COVID related hospitalizations. This is due in part to the fact that many individuals delayed care during the height of the pandemic and are now dealing with more severe medical issues and illnesses.
We are treating patients with advanced heart issues, late-stage cancer, and injuries that require more extensive surgical and procedural care to correct. We are caring for these individuals in addition to COVID patients, who now currently account for about 25% of our total patient population. Now, that might not seem like a lot to you, but please remember that these COVID patients require much more attention and care.
The Tucson International Airport is now offering vaccines through Labor Day weekend. The airport is partnering with the Pima County Health Department to get vaccines to travelers, employees, and the local community. All 3 vaccines, Pfizer, Moderna, and Johnson & Johnson, will be available. Appointments are not required, so feel free to walk in. The Biden administration is continuing to push for COVID-19 booster shots as more and more Americans are getting vaccinated. Johnson & Johnson has completed their phase 2 studies regarding COVID-19 booster shots and antibodies. They found that people who get their shot 6 months after their initial dose are seeing a 9-fold increase in antibodies. The White House issued a statement saying that booster shots for the Pfizer and Moderna vaccine will be available starting September 20th. Grand Canyon University announced that they will not require masks or vaccines for the fall semester. University officials say they believe a mandate isn't necessary and that individuals can make the decision for themselves. The university had 5 or fewer COVID-19 cases for each of the last 6 weeks of the academic year. They say this is a good indicator that their voluntary vaccine and testing policies are working. GCU President Brian Mueller says he hopes this momentum continues over the next 4 months as they plan to reopen the campus without restrictions. Arizona's unemployment rate is falling as the state's economy continues to emerge from the pandemic. According to the latest Bureau of Labor Statistics report, Arizona added more than 21,000 new jobs last month, bringing the state's unemployment rate to a new pandemic era low. The progress is consistent with the national trends. July had the lowest number of Americans filing initial unemployment insurance claims since the pandemic began. Heat in the valley continues to stay at scorching temperatures. The Salvation Army Emergency Disaster Services provides heat relief stations across the valley. Heat relief stations are open today and will continue to stay open through Friday. There will be 11 heat relief stations that will offer both indoor cooling and hydration. Anyone is welcome from 11 in the morning until 5 in the evening. There will be signage outside the relief stations to guide people in the right directions, and some locations will be outside handing water out to those passing by. It's also important to stay hydrated with these high temperatures. The Valley of the Sun United Way's Women United group partnered with several companies in the valley, such as Walmart and JP Morgan Chase, to distribute bottled water to the community. This is their second annual Maricopa County Bottled Water Drive. Their main goal is to provide homeless individuals with heat relief essentials like water and heat relief kits. They distribute these essentials to the Salvation Army, A New Leaf, and other organizations that will help people in need.
And what we realize is that the water is one thing that is needed for the homeless, but it's also the heat relief packets that they need. So they need caps, they need lip balm, they need sunscreen and things like that. So we expanded the water drive in the second part of August to be able to incorporate a little bit more of that.
The Women United Water Drive will end on August 31st. Their goal this year was to collect up to 200,000 water bottles, but they have already surpassed that number by more than 100,000. They encourage people to help their cause by volunteering or donating. And now let's take a look back at our coverage of in-growth and changes for athletes.
As legislation in Arizona has allowed more opportunities for people to access alternative treatment options, Cronkite News reporter Zach Moore got a chance to hear why athletes support this movement.
Cannabis, CBD, and other herbal medicines are becoming widely more accepted thanks to the efforts of athletes who have fought the stigma behind these treatment options. Athletes insist these alternative medicines are extremely effective.
Cannabis, just in a personal stance, it's the pain management is what I deal with.
It can help you sleep, reduce anxiety, inflammation, arthritis. I mean, here we are talking about football players with inflammation and onset of arthritis, with sleep issues, with anxiety, PTSD, and all this crazy stuff. And here's this natural plant that can help with all that.
CBD has paid dividends for both active and former players alike. Last year, the NFL announced a new collective bargaining agreement that got rid of suspensions for marijuana violations.
But I think that pendulum is swinging. More people are looking into plant medicine as a remedy, and it's very encouraging what the NFL did.
Arizona enacted legislation to allow recreational marijuana use, a change that reflects a trend amongst all patients.
A lot of people are seeking, alternative care, not just pharmaceuticals. So I think more patients are becoming aware, older people are becoming aware, they're accepting this.
Again, I'm not trying to say that any other medicine shouldn't be used. What I'm arguing is that my medicine should be allowed and should be an option and put me at a level playing field like any other athlete.
As the landscape continues to evolve, it seems that the sports world and overall legislation continues to trend toward providing opportunities for patients to receive alternative treatment options. In Chandler, Zach Moore, Cronkite News.
The COVID-19 pandemic did not just put a momentary stop to sports competition. It also impacted the future of high school athletes aiming to play at the next level. The NCAA implemented a dead period for college recruiting, preventing schools from hosting in-person visits for prospects. Cronkite News reporter Mason Kern explores the effects on one Arizona prep football star.
Wrap, drive. Good.
With his junior season in disarray, Shaquan Bowser spent the last year honing his skills on the gridiron. The Castile High defender was preparing for a recruitment process that still remains uncertain.
Oh, man, I was devastated, bro. I was so devastated.
The recruiting dead period began last March, with the NCAA throwing out its traditional calendar. It prevented prep athletes from interacting with college campuses in person, restricting to a completely virtual system.
We're considering just touring the campus in general and not just the facility, which is a bummer, but it is what it is.
When will it end? Recruits are asking the same question. The deadline has been extended 8 times and is currently scheduled to stop at the end of May.
Everyone who I really talk to is, either my class or lower, and we're all in the same boat right now, and we're all starting to figure out, this confusing time.
Prospects can still take unofficial trips to college campuses, just without access to any facilities. Both sides are continuing to learn to adapt to an online recruiting process.
Colleges have been great in doing virtual visits, virtual tours with players that they're interested in. And players can always go online, and there's so many things online right now that you can get a feel for a campus, but there's nothing like being on the campus and getting a feel for the town that you're in.
Like, you don't just randomly go up and go to different states, so we kind of have to plan ahead. But we also don't want to go and tour the campus just so the dead period can be lifted.
The recruiting landscape was reshaped with the class of 2021. Bowser and the rest of the 2022 recruits now have to navigate the continued uncertainty through National Signing Day in February of 2022. In Queen Creek, Mason Kern, Cronkite News.
While Darby decided to head to the draft, senior defensive back Chase Lucas chose to head back to Tempe. Reporter Jordan Spurgeon takes a look at the reasoning behind his decision.
Yeah, Chase Lucas is everything for this program. And I mean everything.
Chase Lucas doesn't quit. The fifth-year senior came back with a chip on his shoulder after not being named a captain in 2020.
I ended up not getting the C on my chest, and you know what I mean? I put so much hard work and dedication into something that I didn't get. And I remember walking out of the meeting crying.
This year is different. After he decided not to declare for the draft, Coach Herm Edwards opted to name Lucas a captain.
I just felt like I was out to prove something. Like I said, man, I think it was the best decision that I've made, and I'm just really, really blessed to be a captain on this football team.
The Tempe native and Chandler High product wants to be a legend in Sun Devil football lore. Coach Edwards says he saw that potential in him from day one when he took over the program.
He's been a part of this program even before I got here. I can remember when I first met Chase and we had a nice conversation and told him that, eventually you're going to be one of the leaders of this football team, and rightly so. He's a team captain.
The goal for this season is to not only prep for the 2022 NFL Draft, but to make his teammates better and in turn cement his legacy in ASU history.
So if I'm going to be the legendary guy that I keep saying I'm going to be, I got to change some things. So I'm going to change some things around here.
The lockdown corner will be the first 5-year starter in Sun Devil football history. For Cronkite News, I'm Jordan Spurgeon.
The Surprise Tennis Complex has hosted many events over the years, including a national championship tournament for the United States Tennis Association. Reporter Zachary Larson tells us how the event has become more popular than ever.
The COVID-19 pandemic did not benefit most sports, but for the United States Tennis Association, the sport of tennis grew in popularity.
We actually saw tennis across the United States grow. Just in general, we had about 4 million more people playing tennis in 2020 than in previous years.
The USTA hosts events like the National Tennis Rating Program Championships every year, which features players like Rafael Garcia, who competes out of a passion for the sport.
It's something that I work for, something that I have to earn. And when I get to this place, I feel fulfilled.
The City of Surprise has been hosting events for the USTA since the tennis facility's inception in 2007, thanks to its pristine condition and unique layout that allows fans to view all 25 courts in close proximity.
They come here because of the quality, the way the courts are maintained. There's, we keep things new, constant resurfacing, all that kind of stuff.
Whether you're from Texas or from right here in Arizona, the NTRP National Championships feature many different age groups and skill levels from across the country.
Each of the 17 sections got a certain number of players to endorse to send on, and so these folks fought their way out through all the local play and everything to get here.
There are over 1,000 players competing in this year's Adult National Championships event, ranging from high-level players to those just beginning, making the Surprise Tennis Center an ideal place for the event.
Arizona has fantastic weather. This is probably one of our favorite facilities to run out of. Just the fact that they have 25 lit courts makes it super great.
All these different levels are playing at this one event, whereas most tournaments are just one level.
The city hopes to continue hosting local schools and USTA events as the sport of tennis continues to grow. In Surprise, Zachary Larson, Cronkite News.
Giving back to the community has become an important part of many professional athletes' lives. In Arizona, longtime Cardinal Corey Peters has focused his efforts on education. Cronkite News reporter Mason Kern has the story about Peters' impact on young students in South Phoenix and beyond.
Did everybody read the book? Did anybody finish it?
Corey Peters hasn't always enjoyed reading. In fact, his parents had to coax him into it when he was a child.
I wasn't necessarily a huge fan of reading per se growing up, but I think my parents did a good job of, forcing me to take the time to do things the right way and spend some time reading.
As he got older and matured, the longtime Arizona Cardinals defensive lineman realized that he could provide the gift of education to his community. So the Corey Peters playbook was born.
I feel like it's my responsibility to pay it forward, help some other kids, get some opportunities that maybe they wouldn't have otherwise had.
After holding his book club in person for several years, the COVID-19 pandemic forced it to go virtual in 2020.
Two of Trevor's greatest passions are reading and football, specifically the Cardinals. So when I saw this, I was just like, this is the perfect thing for him. And, he's a little more apprehensive when it comes to social elements. So it being online was even a greater fit.
While the playbook was an offering exclusively for Arizona high school students last year, it's being pushed nationwide in 2021.
Since it's expanding, so maybe there'll be more kids and
I guess maybe longer meetings and more thoughts put into it. Corey Peters, he's been really nice during the meetings and all that, and he's like accepting.
Being able to do it virtually, we're able to reach a wider range of students. I also think the students are a lot more comfortable being able to share.
The personal touch Peters puts toward his participants has not gone unnoticed either.
Just the relationship he's developed with Trevor and how he's helped Trevor kind of come out of his shell and have greater experiences and stuff. We're forever grateful for that.
While he's currently a free agent, Peters is hoping to continue to make an impact in the Arizona community he's served for the last 5 years, even if he's no longer playing for the Cardinals.
My community work, I really have a special connection to South Phoenix community.
And that will never change. In Phoenix, Mason Kern, Cronkite News.
That's it for Cronkite News tonight. Thank you for joining us. On Break It Down, Arizona had a few unexplained UFO sightings over the years, and we're going to break down both the fascination and skepticisms next. For top Arizona stories anytime, go to cronkitenews.azpbs.org.